Story 1. My face tends to accumulate fat even when I am at a healthy weight. It is very round, and I have a double chin I can only lose when I am underweight. Having a short neck also does not help. Story 2. I can live with physical insecurities, but I am tormented by my brain. Story 3. I get terrible acne very easily. My nose is slightly crooked, and it always bothers me. It is barely noticeable most of the time, but I can see it, and it makes me sad. Story 4. I will go down swinging on this one. I believe in God and in a higher power, although defining them is a different question. I question God's existence for one simple reason. Who thought it was a good idea to have pubic hair around the anus? Seriously, someone needs to lose their job over this design flaw. Story 5. I have had varicose veins on my legs since I was 12. As a man, it is infuriating. I would not mind so much if others had them, but it feels like I have to wait until I am about 60 for others to catch up. Story 6. I'm typing this from the chair in my dentist's office to have my teeth repaired. I'm a little terrified right now. Story 7. I am mostly all right, but I would prefer not to have such painful periods. I have the necessary medication for them, but it is still unpleasant. Story 8. My forehead is so big it looks like I can read minds. I could rent it out as an image maximum screen. For Halloween one year, I dressed up as Rimmer from Red Dwarf and a helicopter landed on my face. Story 9. I lost a lot of weight and I absolutely hate the loose skin on my stomach and buttocks. Story 10. I am 5 feet 5 inches tall and a short man. Physically, there is nothing wrong with being short. But when it comes to dating, when friends want to introduce me to women, the first question they ask is, how tall is he? After they learn I am 5 feet 5 inches tall, they say, never mind. I do not even get to meet them. Story 11. My stupid fucking double chin is because of my side profile. I could weigh 25 pounds and still have a turkey neck. Story 12. Gynecomastia sucks. I have pectoral muscles that do a good enough job of disguising it, so it's not too much of a bother today. If I ever want to get rid of it for real, it's like a $4,000 minimum for surgery that insurance companies insist is cosmetic. Let me assure you that the treatment from others and the ensuing psychological issues are anything but cosmetic. Story 13. I have a few health issues. I have type 1 diabetes, a degenerative neck injury, a mangled leg that is permanently damaged, and a large amount of scarring. Luckily, I am sarcastic and good at making the weirdness of it fun. So that is nice. Story 14. I have to remove my back hair before I go swimming in public, and it's such a pain. Story 15. I hate my scarred, disfigured genitalia. I wish so much I could keep the natural body I was born with. Story 16. I had concerns about my nipples. I had an appointment with my general practitioner. After an exam, he told me it was not gynecomastia but a swollen gland. I just have to live with that. There is a lot more to life than getting hung up on bodily features. Story 17. I have 2 rotator cuff injuries that prevent me from reaching things properly. This is quite frustrating and can also be embarrassing. Story 18. I have a large cluster of moles on the side of my face, and I hate looking at them every morning when I wake up. I feel people staring at me when I am out. I had them removed with laser treatment years ago, but they came back. Story 19. One of my ears is normal. The other is stuck in a pointy shape. When I shape the tip, it stays pointy instead of returning to normal. Ideally, I would like both ears to match, either both normal or both pointy. Story 20. I hate that I'm so fat. I can barely see my own penis. I hate my cheeks. My fingers, knees, toes, and elbows always hurt. I hate my eyes. I don't know. What do you hate about yourself? Try not to laugh at how much I hate myself right now. Laughing out loud. Story 21. I hate my dainty wrists. No matter how much I work out, they stay the same. People say to increase my forearm size instead, but progress has been very slow. Story 22. I have neurofibromas and developed lumps. It is always awkward to explain, and I feel very self-conscious about it. Story 23. I don't like this question, so I'll answer what I do like about myself because I feel like being a bit preppy and positive. My favorite part of my body is my forearms. They are perfect, not too muscular and wide but strong and solid. And I still have fabulously dainty wrists that may be small but I like them. I used to be really insecure about my butt and thighs, and it was worse because it happened during puberty when high school girls can be mean. But I learned to love them and to embrace my other insecurities too. Now they are what make me unique, and I love that about myself. Story 24. Boring answer incoming. I am just a little over 160 centimeters tall, about 5 feet 3 inches. Story 25. As a woman, my shoulders are a little too wide and my arms are a little too long. I used to be really insecure about it, mostly in high school. While I still get self-conscious occasionally, my main complaint is that it is so hard to find jackets that fit properly. I have to size up by 1 or 2 sizes so I do not feel like I am going to burst out like the Hulk when I move. Story 26. This is my stomach after having 3 children. My husband has never said anything nice about it, so that is probably where it stems from. Story 27. My massive dick is annoying. I have to sling it over my shoulder when I use the bathroom. Random boners are the worst. The second I get a stiffy, I pass out from blood loss. I can't count how many times I've tripped over my foot-long pork sword. It always drags along the floor, almost circumcising itself from the friction. I have to get special 3-legged trousers tailored because the old carrot will rip them otherwise. Everyone used to call me names when I was younger, like elephant or the log, and it made me depressed. Story 28. I'm chubby and a bit short, but neither of those annoys me as much as my blackheads. I just can't get rid of them. Story 29. I would change a few things about my face. Nothing is terrible, but if money were no object, I would make some improvements. Story 30. I have tried everything diet and exercise can do, but my genetics keep me in this shape. Story 31. I don't like my stomach. Even though I've had healthy children because of it, it has an apron belly. The first chance I get to have a tummy tuck, I will take it. Story 32. That part between the bottom of my feet and the top of my head. Story 33. My brain doesn't regulate my emotions well, so I have several mental health issues. I also don't like the way I am built. Story 34. I have an underbite. My lips and face do not look good from the side. I look like a creepy wizard. Story 35. I have fluctuated in weight quite a bit in my life and, as a result, I have stretch marks. I am glad to say I am well on my way to a healthy goal weight and have what I would call a decent physique. But the stretch marks on my belly and around my groin make me a little sad. I am getting healthy and overall much more confident in my body than I used to be, but it bothers me that my wife sees them. They are not particularly appealing, especially when she is performing oral sex. I am constantly thinking of the marks on my inner thighs. Story 36. It is not an outright feature, but I have an autoimmune disease. If I could go every day without being in pain and reverse the weight gain caused by the steroids used to treat it, I would be happy. Story 37. I am physically disabled and visibly so. One thing that stands out is that I have a polycystic ovary syndrome belly that resembles a beer belly. I am very thin with no curves, except for a bloated, firm stomach that makes me look pregnant. Story 38. Even at my lightest adult weight, my stomach still protruded. As a college athlete in great shape, I never had well-defined abs like other men. I always looked flabby around the middle, even when I weighed 155 pounds and stood 6 feet tall. Story 39. Hair loss and how long it takes my body to lose fat, even though it gains fat easily. Story 40. The women in my family tend to carry weight in their arms and stomachs and have round faces. When we lose a lot of weight, our faces can look a bit off. I am one of the few cousins who did not inherit the larger calves that often accompany our long, toned legs and curvy hips. We are blessed with fuller figures that complement our shape. Story 41. My wrists. I am 33 years old, 1.75 meters tall, and about 75 kilograms. I exercise regularly and have no belly fat or gray hair, yet my wrists look like those of a 13-year-old girl. Story 42. I absolutely hate my stomach. I am a healthy weight, I exercise daily, and I eat well. Even when I was underweight, my stomach still looked large to me. This is partly due to my anatomy and the curve of my spine. Story 43. I am comfortable. There is nothing I dislike anymore. Many features bothered me when I was younger, but they do not now. I am not ugly. I am the same person regardless, and worrying about my appearance is a waste of energy. I do not dislike my body. I learned to accept it. Story 44. It is about height, not because I am small, but because it is not the right number. I am around 5 feet 4 inches, 164 centimeters. I would like to be either 5 feet 3 inches or 5 feet 7 inches, 160 centimeters or 170 centimeters. Being in the middle bothers me a bit. Story 45. My tummy used to be very large. It is now deflated and saggy. Story 46. According to the women of Reddit, everything. I do not know why I even read those threads. I should know by now that I am not hot. Story 47. My jaw is not developed the way it should be. It should be more robust. Story 48. My nose, chest, forehead, and back, but I am working on the last one. Story 49. I am mostly okay with myself, but the one thing that irritates me is my hair. I have very coarse Asian hair, and getting anything done with it seems impossible. If it is short, it sticks out like an afro. If it is long, it still sticks out about 3 inches before it falls. Story 50. I'm not a fan of my pinky toe being on its side, as if it had passed away. Story 51. Coming to terms with my adult woman's body after transitioning from my teenage body. Story 52. My ears produce earwax too quickly, so I have to clean them every day or so, or everything becomes very muffled. Story 53. It is just very ill-fitting for me. I mean, I am transgender. Hopefully, I am not going to have to feel like this about my body forever. Story 54. My hips prevent me from kicking high. As a natural artist, I want to improve, and I am going to a physiotherapist soon to discuss it. Story 55. I have always wanted an angular face with prominent cheekbones like Katharine Hepburn. I like my face, but sometimes I can look like an Italian chipmunk. Story 56. My hair never grows past my shoulders, and it has been a major insecurity since middle school. Story 57. Just. Story 58. Sometimes when I eat, especially if I am famished, I do not chew well enough and food gets stuck in my esophagus. I drink water to try to force it down, but instead there is a dreadful gurgling sound and the water is forcefully expelled back up. This happened at work the other day and I was mortified. Story 59. I do not like the way I look and am not satisfied with it. Story 60. My stretch marks. If they were from pregnancy, I would be proud, but they are just from being overweight. Story 61. Yes, all of them. I do not know that I have ever felt happy with who I am or comfortable in my own skin, and I do not know that I will ever be. Story 62. The body hair is so gross. I wish I were smooth everywhere. Story 63. I am physically disabled and feel I will never be loved because my family is full of deadbeats and narcissists. Story 64. I work in an office now, so I have gained a lot of weight. I hate my entire body. I am going to reduce my calorie intake and take walks during or after work. Story 65. I live in a country where people often use saunas naked. Sometimes you think having large genitals is an advantage, but not when you go to a sauna with many other students who are naked and yours is exposed in front of everyone. I become self-conscious and can't do much about it. Wearing a swimsuit is not allowed in public saunas, and it would make you stand out even more. Story 66. There is a lot. My stomach is my #1 concern right now. Story 67. I am unhappy with my nose because my mother seems almost perfect. Story 68. My never-ending déjà vu. Didn't I see this question about 3 hours ago? Story 69. I am a 30-year-old man and have always had breasts, small A cups, but still. My nipples are also too large. This probably comes from hormonal issues during my teenage years. Story 70. My little toes are awkward and affect the shoes I can wear. I don't always like my feet. Story 71. My breasts are different sizes. I know people say this is normal and that every woman has some asymmetry, but mine are extremely different. It is very noticeable and makes it hard to shop for bras. I cry when I see them in the mirror, so I avoid looking at my naked body, especially after having a baby. I really want breast surgery, but I cannot afford it. So I wear awkward, baggy clothes and hide my body. Story 72. I am genetically unable to lose weight, and I am allergic to any medication that could help. Story 73. My head is so big. All the men on my father's side of the family have disproportionately large heads, so there is not much I can do about that. Story 74. I have hammer toes, mostly due to muscular dystrophy, but that is the only real symptom I have. I should not complain. As a child, doctors told my parents I would be in a wheelchair by age 40. I am over 40 and not in a wheelchair. Story 75. I dislike my face, especially my lips. People often tell me that many pay a lot of money to get lips like mine, and I reply, that doesn't mean I would. That's why I avoid pictures in mirrors. I also dislike my hair. I want to grow it out, but it always ends up frizzy. Story 76. My face. I hit every fucking ugly stick on the tree when I was born. Story 77. My feet are too big and too wide. All shoes except flip-flops are painful. Story 78. A smaller penis would have been better when I was younger. Story 79. I feel helpless about my teeth because my dental insurance covers very little. Our household income is too high for assistance programs, and we cannot take on more debt. Story 80. My tummy, thighs, and arms. Laughing out loud. I used to work out every day, but life became exhausting. Story 81. After a lifetime of being an outdoor athlete in the sun, I don't like my nose. Sun 1, my nose 0. Story 82. I have a hard time finding anything about myself that I like these days. I have never received many compliments about my physical appearance, so I have no idea what others find attractive or enjoyable about me. People say to love yourself, but when I look in the mirror, I see a 31-year-old average-looking man. It is not that I hate myself. I just feel like I exist. I am not tall or handsome. I do not have nice skin or hair. I am neither skinny nor fat. My hair and eyes are brown. On almost every physical metric, I am average. I do not know what to love about myself when I see 15 different versions of me while grocery shopping. Some women say they wish they had my cheekbones, so I guess I have that going for me. Story 83. I am not a big fan of my weight. The only times I have been able to lose weight are with extreme calorie restriction and excessive exercise. 800 calories or less per day and walking at least 6 miles daily. When I bring it up to doctors, they just give me the laughing out loud eat better speech. I struggled with my weight as a teenager in the opposite direction. I could not gain weight no matter how much I ate. I have never been able to put on any muscle when working out. I have a family history on both sides of thyroid issues, but since my levels come back normal, no doctor near me has wanted to check for conditions that might not show up on a standard thyroid panel. This is frustrating. Story 84. My whole body bothers me. I am overweight. I have a double chin, small eyes, very large thighs, a big nose, no eyebrows, a horrible side profile, fat arms, and small, chubby hands. Story 85. My arms are broad. My forehead is large. My nose is a little too big for my face. Story 86. I don't know why my scrotum feels tight most of the time. I don't like it. Story 87. I am skinny fat but fairly athletic. I love running and jumping and eat a very healthy diet. Yet, due to genetic factors, I still do not look like I have been working out for a long time. Story 88. I have a small mouth. It's not very wide, which caused my teeth to become overcrowded. So I will need braces. I feel like it does not fit my face. Story 89. I have never liked my nose, lips, or the shape of my teeth. Story 90. My immune system attacks my digestive tract when I eat gluten. It is awful. Story 91. Skin tags. I can live with the rest, but those are the things that truly make me feel ugly. Story 92. As a paraplegic, I do not have use of my stomach, so it has become a beer belly, which is common. A six-pack is out of the question. Story 93. I have a giant fucking forehead. I look like a goddamn me character. Story 94. Joint problems and back pain are a start. Aside from that, I have to pluck my eyebrows once or twice a week, or it looks like I have a unibrow. Story 95. I just want to know what it's like to have a flat tummy. Story 96. I am about 2 inches taller than average. My metabolism works too fast, so I always look skinny. Story 97. Breasts, buttocks, and a double chin. I can weigh 54 kilograms, which is almost no fat anywhere else on my body, yet still have the fattest face. Story 98. I'm balding slowly but surely and still not comfortable with it. Story 99. I cannot grow sideburns or a beard on my cheeks. Only my chin and mustache grow hair, and it grows more slowly than other people's. I do not feel manly at all. Story 100. I have the fuel efficiency of a Japanese scooter and the appetite of a V8-cylinder engine. Story 101. My ribs are naturally turned out a bit more than normal because of my back problems, which causes my stomach to protrude more than I would like. I have gotten used to it, but I would change it in a perfect world. Story 102. I have had man boobs most of my life, even when I was in shape playing baseball through high school. Story 103. I would be perfectly happy if I could get rid of the relentless acne I have had since June, which I think is going away soon. My hair just needs to grow back out a bit more and I am fine. Story 104. My hair. I have gone through phases my entire life. We were finally getting along for a few good years. Now it is receding quickly. The betrayal. Story 105. I have a large head. I look like one of those bobblehead figures. Story 106. I wish I were a bit taller. I know it's basic, but sometimes being short really sucks. Story 107. My large hands are great for all the instruments I play, but I don't like how they look. Story 108. Guys, I don't think I'm a fan of that, but I'm still figuring it out. Story 109. I really hate how small my chest is. I'm a guy. Story 110. My stomach is not flat enough and has stretch marks from 2 pregnancies. I have learned not to hate it, though I do not love it. Laughing out loud. Story 111. Most things have to do with my skeleton. I have a big forehead, short legs and arms, and a neck shorter than I would like. I am trying to save up to get my teeth fixed. There is not much I can do about any of that except decorate my exterior. Story 112. I have a massive chest. There is a small dip of a few centimeters between my pectoral muscles. It looks like I am extremely muscular, but it is one of my biggest insecurities. I wear baggy clothing and rarely wear anything tight. I am also balding and try to cover it with longer hair or bangs. A single gust of wind, however, will reveal a 5-inch gap between my eyebrows and my hairline. Story 113. My mind depends on my mood. Can be happy, depressed, or downright diabolical. Story 114. I used to hate my waist-to-hip ratio. I love it so much now. Story 115. I am skinny fat. My arms and legs are very thin, but my stomach and chest are quite round. Story 116. I am nearsighted. My left eye has noticeably weaker vision than my right eye. Also, my penis could be a little longer. Story 117. As I get older, my mind does not keep up with my body. I still feel I can deadlift as heavy as I want and simply take time to recover, but the back injuries I have sustained disagree. Story 118. I wish my penis was bigger. Seriously, I think guys with large penises have more confidence. Story 119. I have bad teeth and plan to fix them, but it will cost me around $3,000. Story 120. I don't have a natural smile. Any smile I make is forced and looks unnatural. My teeth are just okay, and the shape of my mouth is not conducive to smiling. People always ask what's wrong or if I'm mad, but I am very happy. Story 121. My body proportions. Physically, I'm a skinny male with a potbelly. My pants are either tight at the waist or too long. Shirts either sag over the shoulder blades or almost pull the buttons across my abdomen when I sit. Shoes that are the correct heel-to-toe length aren't wide enough, so they end up feeling too long or too tight. All this means extra cost to alter clothes every time I buy something new, except shoes, where I have to choose the least worst option. Mentally, I'm too lazy to go to the gym. Story 122. My skin, mostly my face. I am naturally prone to acne, and stress makes it worse. I am in college, which does not help. There are many small things I would change if it were easy, but my acne makes me feel completely unattractive. Without acne, I love my features and feel very pretty. With it, my face looks congested and oily. If I could change one thing, it would definitely be my acne and skin because it ruins my overall appearance. Thankfully, I started a medicated lotion and it has helped a little so far, so I am hoping it will continue to improve. Story 123. The pudge around my middle and the size of my butt. Story 124. I don't like the way my nostrils flare when I smile, but I'm sure nobody else would notice. Story 125. My friend Rodney has a rod that reaches his knee. His brother is rod ankle. Story 126. I have a pear-shaped body. No matter how hard I work out, how clean I eat, or how healthy and active I stay, I can never look lean. Story 127. My size has changed. I'm getting bigger, and while I still look good, I can't get over the fact that I no longer fit into my old loose clothes. My belly has grown too large. Story 128. Lips so thin. By the time I am older, I will not even have lips. Story 129. My eyes are not even. One sits higher on my face than the other. It is not a major difference, but I can see it, and sometimes I wonder how I would look if they were level. I am pretty sure this comes from my father's side of the family. He and my cousin have the same feature. Story 130. A large penis can get in the way. As a young man, it's a great and very fun thing to have. Recreational sex? Anyone? But as a married, middle-aged father of 3 who is long past the sowing his oats phase, it becomes ridiculous. If you've ever been pinched by your pants for the crime of sitting down, or had to discreetly untangle your genitals from loose-fitting underwear, you know where I'm coming from. Story 131. My nose and my thighs are both too big. Pants never fit right, especially jeans. Everyone tells me I look like my dad, and I am a girl. That is not what I want to hear. Laughing out loud. Story 132. I would say my boobs, but honestly I have a giant nose. I guess it is Roman, but it sticks out so much, and it has actually been a reason I have been rejected before. Story 133. Being 5 feet 9 inches rather than 5 feet 11 inches prevents me from booking more jobs. Story 134. I love my skin tone, but I hate how easily it scars. Story 135. My teeth and tongue arrangement make speaking exhausting. I have a heavy stutter and 2 types of lisps. As a result, I hardly ever speak even though I want to. Story 136. I sneeze several times in a row. It's not just a single achoo. Achoo, 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 gasp for air, achoo. Story 137. I would say my height. It feels like I am always either too tall to blend in or too short to reach that ideal standard. But at least I can always see concerts better, or so I tell myself. Story 138. I don't think I have any anymore. After I spent some time drawing myself, I kinda stopped hating myself. I noticed my prettier features and loved them, but I used to hate how big my forehead was, how long my face was, and how red my hair and eyes were. Story 139. My excess skin, left over from being overweight, is permanent proof that I was large at one point. It is demoralizing that it will never go away. Story 140. When I wear tight t-shirts, I feel the sleeve tightening on the right side only. My left bicep is significantly smaller. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm overweight, so body dysmorphia is not the reason. It bothers me because that feeling of asymmetry is like nails on a chalkboard, constantly in the back of my mind. Story 141. My weight. The appearance of it is the least bad part of being big. Worse are not being able to do certain things because I weigh too much, clothing and shoes often not being available in my size, other people being almost always faster than I am, getting tired more quickly, and sometimes snoring or struggling to breathe when I sleep. It affects my life in many ways beyond appearance. If appearance were the only issue, I could live the same way as a person with a healthy weight and I would not care, but it impacts daily activities and quality of life. Story 142. My buttocks have 4-inch crater-like dimples, each about 6 inches in diameter. I have missing muscles that I never developed. Story 143. I have bad skin. I still have acne on my back, shoulders, chest, and buttocks as a 23-year-old man. No matter what I do, it does not go away. It is genetic. Story 144. Skin. What was Mother Nature thinking when she decided I needed all this loose, wrinkled covering over my muscles and sheath? Ridiculous, Mother dearest. It gets in the way. Story 145. Scars cover my body. I have had 23 surgeries since childhood. I also have an autoinflammatory disease that causes scarring. Story 146. I am shorter than most people, which sometimes makes it hard to be taken seriously. Story 147. My smile is terrible. My teeth are crooked. I want to do something about them, but I really do not want to wear braces for 4 years. I am thinking of Invisalign or 6-month braces, but my parents are hesitant because they are expensive. Story 148. My teeth are very small and make me feel self-conscious about my smile because so much of my gums are visible when I smile too widely. Story 149. My pants banana is average. I wish it were a little longer and thicker. Story 150. Well, this huge penis can be cumbersome, but with tall socks, I pull it off laughing out loud. Story 151. I am a grown man and I am only 5 feet 2 inches tall, which is shorter than the average 10-year-old girl. Story 152. My hair is neither curly nor straight and is very difficult to maintain. I depend completely on hair products and styling. Otherwise, it's an ugly mess. Story 153. My pectus excavatum was the bane of my adolescence. That, along with being skinny as a scarecrow, meant I did my best to never take my shirt off in public. I wore a t-shirt when swimming. In gym class, by some miracle, I was never on the skins team when it was shirts versus skins. Story 154. Not a day goes by without joint pain. I'm only 40. This is bullshit. Story 155. My stomach gains fat faster than any part of my body. I have a distinct lower tummy pouch, not the cute kind you'll see people talk about. It's very obvious. Story 156. I'm just way too handsome. I can't go outside without people thinking I'm the love child of George Clooney and Brad Pitt. It's honestly ruining my life. Story 157. The only thing I like is my eyes. I would change everything else about my face and body if I could. Story 158. My calves are large. Even as a skinny teenager, I could not fit into capris because the hem dug into them. When skinny jeans were popular, I had to choose the stretchiest fabrics to wear them comfortably. Now, whenever I buy long pants, I first test the calf area to make sure it is stretchy enough to accommodate my calves. Story 159. I have a weak chin. If I could have any plastic surgery, it would be on my chin. Instead, I just have a beard. Story 160. It is impossible to do anything more than a brisk walk with this massive, cumbersome dong. Story 161. Hair grows on the sides of my chin but not in the center. I have to shave it all off if I do not want to look like a doofus. Story 162. My fingers and hands have always been large. I have had big, beefy, masculine hands since I was about 8 years old. Even at my skinniest, when I was about 14 and 5 feet 10 inches and 140 pounds, my hands were still huge and very masculine. I started wearing rings and letting my nails grow a little longer so they would look less sausage-like because I was self-conscious about them. Story 163. I developed man boobs from being overweight. After losing weight and gaining muscle with supplements, I went through depression and let myself go for years. Between that and a slight lazy eye, I never had the courage to date. Story 164. Chin fat. I didn't notice it until puberty. I was a very skinny kid, but after puberty I gained weight easily without getting taller, which was frustrating. I ended up an average height, overweight teenager with too much body hair, and everyone thought I was an adult who had been held back in school. Story 165. My small breasts, my nose, my hair that cannot decide whether to be curly or straight and usually becomes a disastrous frizzy mess, my skinniness, my height, and my under-eye bags. Story 166. I have stomach fat. I am short, so even a small amount looks amplified. Story 167. I carry excess fat in my chest, and even though I lost 28 kilograms, it still looks unusually large. Story 168. I have patches on my face, especially when I have eczema, and on the skin around my eyes. I also have acne and blackheads. Story 169. Body dysmorphia is real. I just hate God. God doesn't make people equal, but in God's logic, that is balance. Story 170. I have an acne-prone face. Imagine having a pimple every single day. Story 171. I have a head that leans a little too far forward. It's similar to what is called tech neck, though not as exaggerated as many pictures on Google. For a young woman with otherwise average features, it is my biggest insecurity. Story 172, just kidding, kind of, but definitely my stomach, gut, or beer belly area. It has always been large and fluctuating. I have gained and lost weight from 160 to 220 pounds from my teenage years into adulthood due to early trauma and addiction issues. I really hate it in myself, but I am trying to accept it and make healthy choices. That goes well, but sometimes I get frustrated. Story 173. My belly, no matter how hard I try, I cannot seem to get it down. Story 174. I think the question is, what do you like about yourself? Try to narrow it down. Story 175. Acne scars and wrinkles. I have always struggled with weight because of medication. Even at my lowest weight, my lower stomach still sticks out. My face is generally unremarkable, not pretty and not ugly, just forgettable. I am too tall to be cute but too short to be willowy or pretty. I feel painfully forgettable and I dislike my personality. I also hate the chronic pain my body gives me. That is the cherry on top. Story 176. I have a little belly weight, athletic legs and arms, and very full pussy lips. I don't know why that part of me is fuller. Even when I was skinny, it's always been noticed. I wish I could embrace their plumpness, but they feel like they get in the way all the time. Plus, there's no representation for girls with full pussy lips who aren't big, beautiful women. I need a superhero or something. Story 177. At 30, I have bingo wings. Even when I'm happy with my waist, every time I take a picture, my fat arms are glaring at me. Story 178. I have a genetic form of muscular dystrophy. This condition will eventually lead to overall weakness, breathing difficulties, and heart problems. Story 179. A lot of things bother me. The scars on my face, my flabby arms, and the fact that I'm currently a bit chunky. My face grows a beard in a patchy way. I have a lot of acne and pimples on my scalp. I dislike my dark brown eyes. There are scars on my back. My toenails bother me. My chest bothers me, and the list goes on. Now for some positive things. My hair can get curly if I let it grow long enough. I'm the hairiest of my brothers, and I like to tease them about it any day of the week. Even though I'm chunky, I'm thankful I didn't just develop a large belly. I gained weight evenly, so I just look bigger overall, and I still have a jawline somehow. Story 180. That bit from the top of my head right down to the bottom of my feet. Story 181. I never felt attractive. Even worse, I was in a car wreck at 19 and required at least 250 stitches to my face because I hit the windshield. Now I have a scar across my right eye that makes me look like Cable from the Marvel Cinematic Universe with the right haircut. I am 51 now. I got my first pair of glasses, and compliments from women come from all angles. They seem phony and contrived after so many years of nothing. Story 182. My nose. I feel like it ruins my whole face. This is why the nose is the first feature I notice on others, and I compare myself to them. I would quite literally kill to have a smaller, nicer nose. Story 183. I find almost everything about the human body strange. The parts that seem the strangest to me are the ears and the feet. Why do our ears have such a strange shape? Why do feet have so many short toes? They just look odd. I don't know. Story 184. Everything, but especially my belly. It's so fatty and hard to fit any stylish clothes. I fucking hate my face. Everything about it. I hate the overall fatness and weight of my body. 230 pounds, 6 feet 5 inches. 15-year-old male. Story 185. For some reason I get a double chin when my face is tilted back, and it is not difficult for me to cause one to appear. I have had this problem for a long time, even before I gained weight. I just hate it. Story 186. My penis is fine but small. A slight increase in size would make a big difference for me. Story 187. Breasts are difficult for me. Everyone says large breasts are nice, but I don't like them. I can't wear crop tops or most shirts without getting stares. Running or jumping is embarrassing, and sweating is very uncomfortable on hot days. I dislike being described as that one girl with large breasts. Story 188. I like the appearance of my wrist, but I dislike how weak it is. I cannot open most water bottles. Story 189. I had surgery on my right ureter when I was 4. I have a permanent pouch in my lower abdomen similar to what some women have after a cesarean section, since I was cut open in the same area. I hate that I'll never have a flat stomach without corrective surgery. I'm fairly sure nobody else notices, so surgery would be solely to improve the appearance of my stomach. Story 190. My legs are slightly different lengths, and my right foot has only about 70% of the range of motion of the left. Sometimes, no matter what I do, there is simply no comfortable position. I would not recommend this. Story 191. My left big toenail keeps popping off every few months. It is gross. Story 192. I have hip dips and a small pouch on my stomach that I do not like. Story 193. I have gap teeth. Funny enough, I think it's cool when I see others with a tooth gap, but I am still personally insecure about mine. Story 194. I have at least 2 rare skin conditions, possibly 3. They make my skin prone to acne and leave it constantly dry, especially around my nose. I also sweat all the time, even in the snow. Story 195. I wish I could give my chest to someone who needs it. Story 196. It is a growing list, but it does not matter to the significant other. Story 197. My lips are not symmetrical or even when I smile, so in photos I always look like I am grimacing. They are also larger than I would like. Story 198. If I wear a hat that covers my hair, I look just like the sperm donor. Also, I have a pooch after 4 pregnancies. I am not a handsome woman, much less beautiful or even cute, but I think I have a good soul. Story 199. I somehow have large thighs and a small butt. How did that happen? Story 200. My gut has been here my entire goddamn life, and it makes me miserable. The thing must weigh 20 pounds or more. It's totally disproportionate to my body. When I get bloated, I literally look pregnant. If I ever get enough money, I'm getting the damn thing cut off. I mean, cut the fuck off. Forget liposuction. I want the whole thing removed. Take my navel too. Story 201. As I sit on my couch unable to fall asleep because of an acid reflux flare-up, my digestive tract is giving me trouble. I have both acid reflux and lactose intolerance, so eating can be challenging. Story 202. I have thick thighs. They make me uncomfortable wearing shorts in public. Anything shorter than knee length is a no-go for me. I have a lot of cellulite there, but I am not fat. I also hate my face. Story 203. I inherited my body hair from my father's side. Now about 98% of my body is covered with hair. I also do not like my feet. They seem masculine and too large. Story 204. I'm not fat, but I have some luggage, you know. My man boobs make me feel self-conscious at times, mostly over speed bumps or any activity that makes them jiggle with no care in the world. They do the wave at the local ballpark. It hurts and makes me think of getting a bra for something that happens maybe twice a week. Story 205. I would love to give away the sick parts of my skin because they cause pain, but if it is not possible, I will not cry. I love my body. Story 206. My buttocks, thighs, stomach, and breasts. I wish they were all slimmer or, at the very least, more muscular instead of fat. Story 207. Breasts. Before they developed, I was a very fast runner and loved running and exercise. They just add pointless weight and make every activity harder, and I am much slower and have to stop running after just a few seconds. As someone who will never have children, what are they even good for? Story 208. I have man boobs. They are not large, but I do not like how they shake when I brush my teeth. Story 209. It is about how big it is and, honestly, my skin color. I wish I were lighter. Life is easier for pale people, at least where I am from. Story 210. Scoliosis not only makes me look ugly, it also makes standing, sitting, lying down, or literally doing anything painful and uncomfortable. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.